I'm going to show you how to make $10,000 in 23 days. And if you don't think that's possible, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps taken by someone who's already done this. This is Loaf. He used to be a waiter, and he's now making over $500 a day with his AI models, and he's actually disappointed when he only makes $500 a day. And he's making that much without running any complicated ads on Meta, without needing an expensive PC, without needing any complex video editing skills, and without managing a ton of different accounts. And he's hitting consistent $500 days. And if you want to see the support that got him here, the link to my Instagram, as well as the link to book a call and chat with me, is actually in the description of this video. Before Loaf started working with us, he actually already had a FanView account. He actually reached out to me on his model's Instagram on one of my largest model accounts. His content was really bad. He had actually purchased followers on the account. He had no organic followers. He was getting super low views, and he had really no money. You could see here, this was whenever he first joined with our program, and he didn't even have enough money to pay us. He was making $0 on FanView and was getting no views on his content. He had no system for success and was operationally ineffective. He needed a lot of help, strategy, direction. He was really trying, and he was reaching out to large accounts for help, but really was unable to create good content or run a profitable model. Now, after working with us, he's got over 2 million views in his first month, autonomously raking in 10 to 20 FanView subscribers every single day. And his first 4 days on FanView, he'd made $4.6 thousand, so averaging over $1,000 a day right off the bat. And really just understands how the game works and is already scaling up to additional models. You can see some of these results here when they first made that 4.6K in 2 days of selling on FanView, hitting their first milestones on FanView, hitting milestones on Instagram, their first 1,000 5 hours after launching their FanView. And then there's their whole dashboard here. You could see earnings over 10,000 throughout this single month here of April to May, and several spenders who have spent over $1,000 each on this model. And these high spending subscribers are a great example of what makes Loaf so different. So let's talk about what makes Loaf different. He is a goofy guy, and that shows through his model. With Loaf, he's using a chatting strategy that's focused more on the girlfriend experience and relating to these guys with these kind of weirder, nerdy interests. So the content is extremely dorky. It's about, video games, tabletop card gaming, Digimon, I think, is one of the big ones. And just because of that and Loaf's actual passionate interest in these things, he's able to completely dominate the small percentage of people who are interested and get a lot more money out of them than if he would appeal to the broader market with the typical blonde hair, blue eyes kind of model. And that's what most people do. They go for a model kind of like we got Pamela Anderson here, blonde hair, blue eyes. Their interests are going to be things like, bikini beach model, going to the cafe, going to the gym, stuff that's just what 99% of normal people are really doing. But what Loaf did was make someone who was more attainable and approachable looking. This is separate from girl next door. A lot of people kind of think like, oh, that's enough to just be, oh, she's the girl next door. Your neighbor is the girl next door. Like, there are real people that are the girl next door. So you need to do something that really sets yourself further apart. So Loaf's model did a great job of targeting, more specific niche, an extremely relatable personality and interest for a small group of people. So targeting that very small group let him really dominate in that small group. So an example, pretty, weird example to give here, but still one that kind of gets the point across, is something like a carpet installer. Like, if you think about a carpet installer, if they're opening their phone and they're seeing a beautiful woman who they can relate to and is interested in this very boring or niche or weird thing that they do, they're going to freak out and get excited about that. And they're going to do whatever they can to talk to this person. So think about these kind of weirder pockets of people whenever you're coming up with the kind of content that you want to make. That doesn't mean that these kind of blonde hair, blue eyes, traditionally attractive models don't work. It has worked for years. This is a model who is into sports, blonde hair, very, traditionally beautiful, and they are in the top 0.7% and have made quite a bit of money. But again, with Loaf, he's able to actually convert on a much lower scale. So you could see here with just a few hundred followers making multiple thousands of dollars in a day. So it's going to just kind of depend on what you're going for, whether it's mass appeal or niche marketing. But the niche marketing has allowed Loaf to convert at a much higher rate. So he's averaging around $6,000 per million views, when on average models are making sometimes about a 20th of that. So you could see here less than 3 million views in the past 90 days. And again, getting these big multiple thousands of dollars a day, averaging $6,000 made per million views on the account. And this strategy lets him operate with much smaller volume. So Loaf's actually only posting 1 to 2 times per day, and previously only had one account. They've now scaled up to protect them a little bit, but they're able to make numbers like these, sales like these, without spamming 20 trial reels a day and setting up crazy cloud automations to create 100 videos a day, which is what these accounts like this one are doing. So they're still making money, just a different strategy. Something to mention, this is high effort and also high cost. So to make content like what Loaf makes, there's not a huge investment to make that kind of content. If you were to make these like spammy 100 videos a day things, there's a huge investment required in that. It's going to cost genuinely thousands of dollars a month to make the content, to run the AI automations that are going to post it for you. So Loaf was able to do this kind of very leanly. And you could see he really did, because here is a message where they were not complaining, but apologizing, saying that they weren't going to continue with our mentorship because they couldn't afford it. And they were having to borrow money to do so. And so you could tell this is not the kind of person who had thousands of dollars a month to spend on making 100 videos a day. So they had this strategy here where they're able to convert at a much higher rate and make a lot more money off of a lot fewer followers. And that account's doing great. Previously, their account that they first reached out to me on was buying followers, really doing stuff to damage the account. Now they're on a completely safe account, one account on one phone, a dedicated work phone, and has never gotten banned. Part of that as well was following our warm-up guide. So you can see here, this is just some stuff that we give everyone who joins, how to set up an iPhone, how to warm up the account properly, keep it from getting banned, what not to do, what to do, but it's really helpful stuff. So finally, here's a more visual example of how Loaf was able to position his model in a way that puts him at such an advantage. So there's the typical kind of blonde hair, blue eyes model, looks like, a supermodel, very beautiful woman. But at the end of the day, this is appealing to everyone, so it's appealing to no one, right? You need to kind of really find a more specific pocket of people to appeal to, and you're going to end up being a lot more profitable in that way. So we have this model. This is a Loaf's main model that is so profitable because they appeal to such a small or special amount of people. So finally, let's take a look at Loaf's model and talk about some things that they did right. So for one, the look of the model is very unique. Not really the kind of person you're going to see normally who's running a OnlyFans. So here's kind of your typical blonde hair, blue eyes, pretty girl. Looks a lot like someone that you would see making adult content. There's plenty of people who look like they make adult content that are making adult content. So one way that Loaf stood out is by making his model look less like the typical adult content creator. And this really resonated with a lot of people and helped him get so much money from so few subscribers. Another thing Loaf does really well and is part of their success is creating viral content. They're really, really good at sniffing out trends. And then once they do find something that kind of hits, they're creating it again and again and again and just getting hundreds of thousands of views out of that one single concept. And they turn the attention from that concept into money by just kind of following through the pretty standard funnel here. So they're going to get attention from the reel. People are going to head over to their profile, which acts a bit as a landing page. Currently, the meta is to have your link as a pinned highlight. The highlight takes you to your actual link aggregating landing page. So link me, Beacons AI, people use plenty of different things. And then from there, over to FanView. When FanView, chatting in the DMs. And in the DMs, we're selling content. Now, something Loaf did that helped him get so much money so soon is kind of built people up at the right phase in this funnel here. So people came over to his profile and he actually ran a sequence. Now, these aren't the exact stories he ran, but he did run a launch sequence leading up to the launch of his FanView. And it looked kind of like this. It doesn't matter how good the content on your FanView is if nobody knows about it, and you only get one launch. So it's important that you launch your FanView right if you want to have any chance of making numbers like this in that first week. And here's a look at the kind of thing people are going to see once they do head over to the link from your story sequence. Here's a link me landing page that makes it pretty obvious where to find the stuff people actually want. And Loaf was able to use this repeatable process to now manage multiple accounts running in unison. So let's talk a bit about the concept of repeatability and repeating what's working. So you don't only want to do that with your model as a whole or your own posts. You just don't need to reinvent the wheel. Whenever you're posting, think of it kind of like, you could use the example here of metal detecting. I kind of like the idea of mining for gold. If you are mining for gold, you're prospecting and you find gold, you wouldn't go home that night and then the next day keep looking for gold. You would just go and dig where you already were, right? So the gold that you found is a video that works for you, a viral video that exists within your model's niche, and is going viral kind of on its own accord. And you're going to want to recreate those videos. We're going to get a little bit, we can get into it now. So basically, whenever you recreate one of those videos, you're going to kind of take 80% of what made that video work and keep it the same. And then 20% put your personal spin on it. So whenever you do keep that 80%, again, you need to make sure you're keeping the part of it that actually made it work, the structure that made that video go viral. Whenever you add your personal spin to it, you're going to be adding just your model's niche, doing what you can to make it kind of pop more. So whether it's going to be more engaging things happening in the background, different caption, better outfit, more engaging hook, these kind of things are going to be your personal spin that also helps improve the video. So just ask yourself, like, how can I remake this video, but how could I actually make it better instead of just making a one-to-one copy? So analyze your videos based off your normal metrics, not your competitors. So this means whenever you post a video and you look at the views, you can't expect it to get the same amount of views as an account that's going viral every single day. But if you can compare it to just the recent content that you've posted, that's how you should really be analyzing metrics whenever you do an 80-20. And you should also be 80-20ing your own content. And this is really all that you need to be doing. Like, you don't need to be doing any kind of crazy stuff like, trend jacking, top of funnel, mid of funnel, bottom of funnel type content, running burner accounts, worrying about viral outliers, or managing mother-slave accounts. Loaf actually never went mega viral, but made a ton of money because his views are worth more than others. And this is because Loaf has a really great eye for what makes good content. So here's one way to find kind of good content, figure out finding well-weighted content. You can do the pen trick, where you just kind of lay a pen or a pencil over the metrics. So, of course, under here on Instagram, there's going to be your likes, your comments, your shares. Cover those up and then scroll on Instagram. Try and figure out what videos actually have high metrics. Try and guess. And you'll know that you're getting good at picking out good content whenever you're getting more accurate guesses on these metrics. When you're playing this game, try and identify why you feel the way that you do. So when you see a video, and these are some, super viral videos, these are both, this is an AI model, try and figure out when you're watching it, like, why did this video go viral? What made people stop scrolling? What made people start watching it? What made people watch all the way to the end? And then what made people like or comment or share the video? So looking at just a still from the beginning of these images here, you could see, very clearly why people would stop and watch a video like this. And then once you've identified that why, add your 20% in. In this case, a lot of this was just Loaf's personal interest, the kind of stuff that made his model, so knowledgeable about these kind of more niche video game interests. So you could see, talking about Skyrim in this post right here. And this is, kind of totally something that Loaf would have posted almost on his personal account, but just has this pretty girl doing it instead. And once you have found something that works on your own account, 80-20 it, do it again. Keep making the same content again and again. Here's kind of a good analogy for that is, like, you've found something that works. You found the diamonds, right? Keep mining. You don't need to keep digging and trying to find another idea. Like, you found the idea that works. Do it again and again and again. You almost want to be uncomfortable with how similar your content looks to itself. But once you can make good content, really the last piece of the puzzle is now monetizing, right? Turning those viewers into paying subscribers on FanView. So what's kind of really unique with Loaf's content, with Loaf's chatting, is that it was very casual and very kind of girlfriend experience based. So you could see here, looking up at these chats, there's really nothing super sexual about them. They're not very flirty. You could see, just talking about things like debt, managing the Instagram, scared of banks, dragons, fighting, stuff that's really like not the kind of stuff you would typically see in an adult chat like this. Because people are coming from Instagram where they're already interested in this kind of stuff. They've proven that by coming here from Instagram. So continuing to talk about their interests, like, you already can assume that they're into this kind of stuff. They're going to feel very close with the model. And then eventually you're going to end up with sales like these humongous whales who would not have spent this much money if they were just given sexual content right off the bat. These are people who have kind of fallen in love with the model thanks to this style of chatting. And because of that, they're paying sometimes $100, $150 for genuinely just one or two pictures. You could see on top of that, people are sending gifts, things for tips for the model to just buy for herself. Sometimes even related to the games that the model plays with them. So, things for buying video games, buying in-game purchases. So this kind of stuff, having that, personality, being very casual and that kind of prioritizing, building up a story with them helps convert really, really well. One last thing I want to show you is just kind of a realistic timeline for how long this is going to take. So you could see here, Loaf hit 600 followers on April 12th, crossed over 2,000 now, just 1 week later. And you could see in April here, they had $5,000 earned with those first couple $1,000 days. And this was not luck. This was very much hard work that Loaf put in. You could see here, this is our private chat with Loaf. He's messaged me and my business partners over 2,223 times. So this is like constant asking for feedback, constant work. We probably have hundreds more messages since whenever I took this screenshot. He's really, really putting in the work. So if after watching this, you think that this is something you can do and you have that same kind of drive like Loaf has to ask over 2,000 different questions in the course of a week, then my Instagram is actually linked in the bio. And if you reach out and DM me there, if I am interested in working with you, then we can get you on the same path here that Loaf got on to make $10,000 in 23 days with AI models on FanView.